In this video, we're going to practice solving another system of equations. Notice that it has three different equations in the system, and we're going to do it using our matrix, so the matrices. So let's go ahead and take a look at how we would go about this. So the first step that we want to do is we want to write our problem and fill in 0 for any missing terms. Notice that I'm actually missing some y's there. So I'm just going to go ahead and rewrite this real quick. And when I rewrite it, I'm going to go ahead and put my x first because we have nothing but x's here. The first one, I am going to put a 1 in front of the x because its coefficient is 1. And then we have negative 2x. And the next one we have 3x. Now I'm going to go ahead and go to our y's. Notice that these next two, they have y's there. But the top equation, notice it does not have any y's. So on that one, I'm just going to put a placeholder and use a 0, just as I had stated earlier, in place of it. So I'm going to put 0y. On the second one, I have plus 3y. And then I have minus y. So I am going to put a 1 in after that minus, just to remind myself that there is a 1 there. Next, I'm going to put my z values. So we have 3z's, so plus 3z. And then we have plus 1z, so plus 1z. And then plus 2z. I'm going to put my equal sign, and I have 6, negative 11, and 13. Now, while you could skip this step of rewriting it and filling in a 1 where there's a 1 missing, and putting 0 for any as a placeholder for any variable that's missing out of your equation, you could skip it. I find that for myself it's very easy to make a mistake when I do so. So I recommend that you rewrite it, have everything out like this before trying to put it into the matrix. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move this up just a little bit, and I want to go ahead and I'm going to write it in to this table right here before I put it into my calculator. So I'm going to go ahead and just start filling out the values so you can see where we put them. So for instance, we're going to go from top to bottom. My x values are going to go in this first column. So I have positive 1, I have a negative 2, and I have a positive 3. And then next, after that, I'm going to go ahead and put in my next values, and they're going to represent my variable y. And they're going to be 0, and then positive 3, and negative 1. And then we'll go to our next column. That's going to be our variable z, and we're going to go ahead and put positive 3, positive 1, and positive 2. Now after that, all we have left to do is bring down our constant values in this last column here. So I'm going to have 6, and then negative 11, and positive 13. So notice the only ones that I put a symbol in front of are the negatives, right? If it's positive, just write the number. If it's negative, do put your negative symbol, because if you leave one of these negative signs off, it is going to throw off all your answers. So I'm going to get my calculator and just put it beside it. And what I want to do is I want to go ahead and hit second and x to the negative 1 power, which basically is for matrix. Now notice it does pull it up. I want to go ahead at this point, and I want to click this little paddle right here to the right to go to edit. And notice it's already on option 1, and it says it's a 3x4. I'm going to hit enter because we're going to go ahead and make an adjustment to that. Now once I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. Notice that I have a 3 and I have a 4. And I want you to know that 3 is for the rows. Notice we have 3 rows going down, 1, 2, and 3. And the second number is for the columns. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. Now in the one that we're doing here, we also have 3 rows, right? 1, 2, 3. My rows are on the right side. So this, for instance, is row 1. We have row 2 and row 3. And then we have our 4 columns, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. These are our columns. So this is really set up already. Now if you needed to change it, let's say you had a different amount, right? You can say, oh, well, I only had 2 rows, and it'll shorten it to 2. But since it is correct, I'm going to leave those values there. And I'm going to go ahead and just replace the numbers that you see inside of it. So in this first column, I have 1, negative 2, and 3. So 1, negative 2, and 3. I'm going to go to the second column, 0, 3, and -1. And the third column is 3, 1, and 2. And the final column is 6, -11, and 13. Alright, so notice I have all my values in. So once I'm ready at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hit second and the mode button. So second and mode. And what that does is it really just quits the table. So it doesn't change anything, it just gets me out of it so that I can go ahead and go to the next step. And in this final step, we're going to go ahead and we're going to select second and x to the -1 power for our matrix again. So notice we can see this right here. So what I want to do at this point is I'm going to go ahead and go to math. So I click to the right, and then I'm going to go down to RREF. So it's going to be down at the very bottom, and notice we have this double REF. I'm going to hit enter, and it brings it up. But now we need to put our matrix inside of it. So what I want to do at this point is I want to go ahead and hit second and matrix again. And it's already selected that first matrix where we have this 3x4 already set up with our values. So I'm going to hit enter to input it. So once I hit enter to input it, I'm then going to go ahead and just close parentheses, and I want to hit enter. So when I write my answers are going to be taken from this last column that you see right here on the right. So it's going to be 3, -2, and 1. So 3, which represents the answer to my x values, -2, which represents the answer to my y values, and 1, which represents my solution to the z. So we'll say x is equal to 3, y is equal to -2, and z is equal to 1. And that's all there is to it. That's how you use that calculator to go ahead and solve a system.